Welcome back to episode 6 of Project X, where we are taking you on a journey with us to find private label product opportunities, teaching you along the way so that you can build your own business using these same simple methods. So in the last episode, we went over what exactly indexing means and why it's important. And then we actually did the index check on our products to make sure that they are searchable. We also went over how to set up your first PPC test campaign, and we went ahead and did those for all of our products. And finally, we went over how to analyze the results of that test data. So now, if you have not watched that episode, make sure to go back, watch episode 5 again, and then you'll be ready to start here on episode 6.
So on this episode, we're going to tackle the next steps in some data mining and maybe some making decisions, because we're going to take these products and actually launch them. But first we have to source them. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to dive in deeper into some of our competitors' listings. We're going to find out maybe some weaknesses that they have or some things that people like. We're going to look at things like customer reviews. We're going to take all of that data, figure out exactly the details and description of the products, the size and the weight and the shape. We're going to talk about packaging. We're going to talk about branding, why, when, or how branding is important in this decision. And by the end of this episode, we will have showed you basically all of the steps leading up to making what we call an RFQ, which is a request for quote. And then we're going to source those in an even further episode.
So welcome again to Project X. I'm your host, Bradley Sutton. I'm from Helium 10. I'm joined by
Tim Jordan from the Private Label Legion.
Now, if you would like a detailed written version of this episode, make sure to go to helium10.com/X6. That's helium10.com/X6. So, Tim, for all of these products, there's a lot of things that we kind of want to talk about at this stage. I mean, we're talking about size, maybe what material we're going to use. Sometimes I like to bundle things together. I mean, what are some other things that we want to kind of like research in this episode so that we can come to a decision?
Yeah, basically the long-term decisions are going to make us stand apart, succeed. Once we kind of make some of these decisions, we're invested, right? So we've actually bought a large number of these products. We probably have, a decent sized MOQ or minimum order quantity, because we're going to customize this. And that could be as little of a detail as, a custom sticker on a fairly generic product, all the way to like custom materials and designing and shaping and things like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a really in-depth kind of analysis of all of the different components that we can look at, starting with our competitors' listings. Mm-hmm. And then we're actually going to move into other places where we gain criteria. And you guys have seen some of those before, things like Pinterest and Google and other websites, because once we make these decisions, we're kind of stuck with them for a while.
Yeah.
And if you remember, when we sourced for testing, we were only worried about keywords, right? So for example, with the egg tray, if the egg tray that we bought was lime green, it wouldn't matter. It would still work for the test because we weren't trying to sell it. We were just trying to put a product in FBA that matched those keywords. But now we're going deeper. We've got to look at components like, how happy the customer is with the product, the quality of it, the packaging experience. Sometimes we could go really, really deep here. But what we need to do now is let's take all 3 of these products. I know in past episodes, we've kind of just looked at the egg trays. Let's actually go through these 3 products, and we're just kind of brainstorm and run through these rabbit trails to show you some different ways that we gain ideas of how we're actually going to get this produced.
Now, here's the thing. One of the reasons why I'm excited about this episode is because in the past, anything I've seen in like courses or just people doing tutorials, it's a little bit easier for this stage because they're usually picking these products that are already like selling like crazy amounts. Like, hey, this is something that's been selling for a while. We've got some competitors who have like 1,000 reviews. We've got some competitors that are selling hundreds and hundreds and thousands of units, so we can check what maybe is frequently bought together, right? So it's a little bit easier to do it in those ways, and you've probably seen, some of these tutorials. But in this case, this is not going to work out that way. I mean, you guys saw when we were doing the product research, there's no wooden egg tray that's selling thousands of units right now, so we can't find a competitor that we can read 1,000 reviews and see what's going on. There's no axe that is selling 1,000 units a day either. So like we can't do the traditional method. So I'm excited to go into some of these things that Tim is going to show us, because these are ways to do product research for products that I think most of you guys, if not all of you, have never seen. we're going to talk a little bit about potentially bundling products here on Amazon. Bundling products usually works really well when there's a lot of tendency for a buyer to buy two different things at once, in their shopping cart. Like I'm not just going to go buy one thing. I'm going to buy two things. I'm just curious, how many of you out there as Amazon buyers actually buy more than one thing at one time? So we were talking a little bit about the potential of bundling products. And if we were doing a traditional product launch or what everybody teaches you how to do, like maybe it's something that is already selling a lot, so you have a lot of history that you can look at, but that's not the case here. But let's just say that it was. Let's say that we're not doing, the products that we're doing something generic. Give me something to search for.
Like Lunchbox. And while he's looking that up, I'll even explain that more. The term bundling and the reason that people were launching bundling listings is technically they were probably trying to sell a saturated product, right? So Lunchbox we know is probably saturated and super competitive. So one advantage that we could have to try to sell some of these is if we bundle them with something, and we'll show you how to do that.
So what I would have done here, if Lunchbox was one of these three products that we had picked, I would just went ahead and clicked on this. And I'm going to scroll down here, and boom, this is a perfect example, Tim. Let's zoom in here. Explain to the crowd, what is this frequently bought together?
Yeah, so of course Amazon wants to sell more products, right? So they're giving us suggestions. And this is a suggestion based on what people literally have bought together. So when someone has bought this, they frequently also put, one of these cold packs in their shopping cart and bought them together. So Amazon right now, using the buyer portal, is essentially giving us some really great information as to what, buyer tendencies are. Now, again, I think that this product right now is saturated. And of course, this product is very common, so it's saturated. So we're not suggesting that you bundle a Lunchbox with, a cold pack. But basically what we're getting at is there's some really great information here that can help us make some decisions on our actual product too, based on buyer tendencies and, what people are buying together.
Yeah, so the reason that people, in the past would have done this, and we're not trying to like bag on anybody who teaches this method, it still can be very relevant in some cases, is like, for example, you look here and all you see is the same like gray looking Lunchbox right here. If we have that history that people are buying ice packs with this, which makes sense. I mean, a Lunchbox like this is useless without an ice pack. Imagine if you had like a little ice pack right here on this listing. Now this one kind of sticks out over the others. And the logic is that a buyer their eyes are going to be drawn to it and say like, hey, I can get both of what I was trying to get anyways in one purchase. So, but with our products, I doubt we're going to have that much history. And the reason is because we're not picking products that, let's take a look. Look at these BSRs here. I mean, this is crazy. 68 in kitchen and dining, 275. These things, 117. These things are probably selling like 1,000 to 2,000 units a day.
Yeah, they got to be selling a mountain. So because remember, you can make money doing this, but our entire case study is showing you how to start off without huge investments, right? So we're basically launching products that are not super saturated, so they've got some lower sales volume currently. So remember, we're going to launch these wooden egg trays, and we like them because of the search volume based on keywords like egg tray, right? So our intention is not to sell a wooden egg tray. Our intention is to sell an egg tray that happens to be wooden. We know based on all the other information that we got from Pinterest and places like that it should be popular. So now what we've done is we've actually searched wooden egg tray, and we're going to look to see if there's any frequently bought together products. But as Bradley just circled here, they're currently not getting enough sales probably for Amazon to give us that information. So let's find out.
Scroll down. Yeah, that page is completely missing.
Yep. So what that means is we have to find other ways to find information of what people want. And that's kind of what we're going to show you now on these next three products.
We're actually trying to sell not a wooden egg tray, but an egg tray. That's the keyword, our main keyword we're targeting. We want to differentiate ourselves. We know it's going to be wooden already, but maybe if we go to egg tray, there could be some ideas here that we can add as a secondary product to this, or maybe an idea that we can see that we.
Let's just go to this number one here. Yeah.
What in the world? Melamine egg tray? I'm not sure that's a thing. I have no idea what that means. What do people buy with a melamine egg tray? Food storage container.
So this is interesting. So what this is it looks like this is a presentation tray. So
Mm-hmm.
grandma's house, that's what she'd present Thanksgiving dinner. This is storage to get it to grandma's house. And this looks like, so this is interesting. It's a cake decorating tool, but it probably is used to squeeze out the the middle part of those deviled eggs, right? Because this looks like a deviled egg tray. So this is like a great example of not just bundling two things together like an ice pack and lunchbox, but going a little bit deeper into like actual uses, right? So this is actually a really cool example. We can go back and let's find another one just to kind of keep walking through this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to something a little closer to what we're going to use, which is something like a refrigerator tray. I still cannot believe this is like the number 3 spot for egg tray, which has tons of search volume, and they have one listing picture.
Yeah, well, this one we can see why.
Rachel
Ray, but
Rachel
still,
Ray.
yeah, Rachel Ray, but still, I mean,
it's
you gotta
wide
have a
open.
better listing than that.
Yeah, crazy. Well, that's interesting.
Berry
It's just-
baskets.
Berry baskets, which I'm not exactly sure why. Actually,
I didn't even know there was a such thing as berry basket.
I suspect this has to do with these egg trays. People that have like these farm fresh eggs that they're like raising in their backyard. They might also pick berries too, right? So this is a lot of like probably natural food, healthy food. Who knows why people buy what
You see how
they
easy
buy.
it is to digress, though. We could like go on a rabbit trail right there and try and start investigating berry baskets, because who knows, that could be a potential
Let's do
category
these
there.
egg flats. Oh, look, I was right. So
What in the world?
this is, it looks like a high calcium
Cricket
supplement.
feed?
Yeah, supplement. This is for feeding your chickens in your backyard. Chicken feed with the trays to hold them. That's crazy.
Hey, and this isn't a reach. This is actual. The only way that something could come up here on this page is if there's a history of multiple customers who are buying these things, not just like, sometime in the same week. There's actually a section for that right here. Circle this
customers
section.
who bought this item also bought.
Frequently bought together is
chicken
in the same
feed.
ones. Look at that.
Look, this is a thermostat for probably like a chicken incubator.
Reptile feeding tongs? What in the world is going on here?
I don't know. This is crazy, but
Yeah,
I love
we
it.
got to get off this track here, because
We gotta get off this track, but-
we could go on and on down these rabbit trails. But the point of the matter is, right now, we're not seeing that much yet that helps us as far as adding something to the product. And I'm not saying we have to add something to the product. I just like doing research. Another way that Tim actually taught me a while back on researching for what could possibly in bundles is subscription boxes. All right, subscription boxes is something I had never heard of before. I've heard of Dollar Shave Club.
Yep.
So we can just get some ideas. Like I'm going to open up two. Like we've got the axe, we've got the egg tray, and what's the other one?
The coffin box.
The coffin box.
So right now we're just kind of brainstorming, because we know that Amazon's frequently bought together, which is really frankly what everybody else teaches, that and reviews. It doesn't work for us, right? It's not working because we're so kind of far ahead of the game in our product selection that there's just not that much history, right? So we're just kind of brainstorming different ways to do this.
So I'm gonna look here. I did a best subscription boxes for kitchen. Still going on this egg tray. Let's just see if there's anything here. Best cooking subscription boxes for home chefs. Oh, here we go. The best subscription boxes for foodies, cooks, and bakers. Baker or cook might like a egg tray. And I'm just gonna check right here. Some of these websites. Chocoholics. What is an oenophile? I have no idea. This looks like something to do with wine.
No idea.
I'm not seeing anything. Oh, here. This might be something. Okay.
Try the world.
Chocolate. Global palettes. See, like here. This might be something. The taste of home devotees. See, what is it? Strawberry
Quarter.
Holler?
Yeah, pull
does
the
that
core
mean?
up.
So, there's little things in here, like maybe if I went to these websites, I can actually find something that maybe could also go with an egg tray. Let's just briefly look at this other one here. Best subscription boxes for men. Here we go. The 2019 best subscription boxes for men. We've got Dollar Shave Club. Like I said, that's the one that everybody has heard of. Birchbox looks like men's
Shaving stuff.
shaving stuff. Do you use Birchbox? We have a luxurious beard there.
No, it's all natural.
Bombfell clothing, not very applicable. Oh, Loot Crate, I've heard of them. I'm a sci-fi geek right there. Let me look at what they got.
Not a whole lot of kitchen
No.
related
Ooh,
stuff. And
Naruto.
Loot
I like
Crate.
anime. I got my Attack on Titan shirt right here. Let's see. Look at that. Look, that almost looks like I don't know what that is, like an ashtray, but it almost looks like our coffin. Our
Yeah, the
coffin books are like
coffin
a
shelf.
coffin shaped thing. Let's take a look at Bespoke. Whoa! What is this? Not our coffin. This is not the coffin, but what did we find here?
So let's look
Oh
through
my
this.
goodness.
Here's what it looks like. It looks like Bespoke Post is very trendy items, correct? So this looks like very modern, bespoke items, which is really nice high-end stuff. Probably very trendy. The wax canvas stuff is popular now. There's a lot of great stuff here. But what's crazy is, and their primary image
That's
is those
ridiculous.
axes that we had found.
So this would be good. Like if we have more time, I'm going to dig into this website and get some ideas. Like what are they bundling the axe with? Because these kind of companies have all kinds of data probably about what. I mean, that's the whole reason why they're successful.
Yeah, they spend a ton of money on research, so they're doing the research for us. So let's do this. I mean, we can run down these rabbit trails all day, but let's actually find some information because we know we can't use Amazon and we know that there's other places we can get information. Let's attack all three of these products and let's make some decisions. And those decisions are going to be things like what color we're going to produce them in, size and shape if we need to make a differentiator there, how we're going to do the packaging. If we're going to bundle, which I'm not 100% sure we are,
not feeling
probably
confident with
not
that right
feeling
now.
confident. So really we break this down into two places we look. Since we can't do the frequently bought together, what we can look at is reviews, all right? And there's a lot of places to look at reviews because that's where customers are giving feedback. So we can look at Amazon reviews if there's enough of the product sold to have reviews. We can also look at places like Etsy. And Etsy, we can go through and read reviews to get some great ideas. So if we're going to start on, I guess our first product here on my checklist is the egg tray. And again, this is not like data that we can download to a spreadsheet, okay? This is not a search tool, that like gives us all the magic information. We have to be creative. We have to think outside the box. We have to look at a ton of information just to help kind of give us kind of some gut instincts, right? We tested the product, so we know that there's low competition, high demand. Now we have to figure out how to make ours different. So we're just making mental notes here. We know that we're doing the wooden egg tray. Let's go back to, I think this is one we've seen before, this $38 one. 650 reviews. Now, I will say that the reviews on Etsy are not always the product reviews. This is the number of reviews for the seller. But when we look through here is these reviews, we see that,
You missed it, guys. He has a helium 10 pit and he was just like trying to double click.
So look at this. This is wooden egg holder for eggs. It's oak and walnut color.
Oh, we had talked about material.
Yeah, we talked about material. So we're just absorbing information here. 5-star, 5-star. They love this. This looks like kind of that homegrown, not store-bought eggs. Unfortunately, I don't know what. Oh, that's translated to English. Look, so man, they're selling a lot of those things. It's a lot of reviews for basically the same thing, which is great. So we can open up to more. And all we're doing is just, again, not pulling out like specific data that we put in a pivot table. We're just getting an idea. Very well made, last me forever. All right. For 18, beautifully crafted. That's a different product, but let's keep going to egg trays. That's a quail egg tray.
Shoot. Yeah.
I had no idea that people actually had quail eggs. So what this is telling me is it looks like, all of the comments are showing us like very high-end, kind of luxurious. Oak and walnut. People are excited about, how luxurious it is, which makes me think that, kind of further validation, we're not going to be stuck in that $11 or $12 price point, which is another thing we have to determine, is just how much we're going to price this thing, and we have to know what our price is going to be before we actually source it. So that's a lot of good information. Let's following down this kind of idea of the egg trays. What if we went to Amazon and looked up some reviews there on wooden egg trays?
Yeah, let's see if there's any. And then if not, regardless of the material, the function is going to be the same. So if we don't have enough reviews on the wooden egg trays, we can just see what are the common customers complaining about or loving. And that's a thing that you've got to do regardless of what product you're looking at is the point of these reviews is a couple things. You want to look at what people are complaining about. Like, I didn't see any negative reviews there. It looks like everybody loves it. That's great. But if I saw a 1-star review or a 2-star reviews and there's a common theme among them, you better believe I'm going to take note, because whatever problem that people are complaining about those, I want to make sure that our product doesn't have that. On the flip side, whatever people love about a certain product, well, we better make sure that our products have that. So this is one of the things that's kind of evergreen. I mean, this logic here is not going to change. You know, it's going to be 2025. You're watching this on YouTube in hologram form or whatever. This is still going to be valid.
And what's interesting here is it kind of gives us a double problem, or like a pro and a con. Problem is there's not a ton of reviews, so not a lot of feedback on this product. The great part of that, the pro means not a lot of competition, right?
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and click on one of these wooden egg trays that...
It's okay if it only has like 2 reviews?
Yeah, let's see what they have.
All right, so here, there's only 2 reviews here, but what do these people say? Oh, this is what I like to see. Mine had some surface damage. What does that tell you? So like a wooden, we've got to make sure our packaging, we're not just going to throw this into a box. That's some very valuable information.
One thing we've noticed is that Amazon, if they see a wooden product, they think, oh, this thing's indestructible. But remember, we know based on those Etsy reviews that people want high-end finish, they want luxurious. So we need to make sure that we package these well, because we want our price to be, nice and high. That's really great. Oh, look at this. If you're concerned about imperfections, you might want to spend quite a bit more on one of these handmade ones that you can get at craft fairs. Nobody buys at craft fairs. No. But what it means is they're literally saying that they would pay more for one that was better protected.
Yeah.
Simple. So just better packaging. So that's great. Let's check another review.
So this is the one I think that we just saw, right?
Yep.
Unless that's another one. Okay. I see 1 5-star review there, 1 5-star review there.
That one's got 9. It's
a little bit different product.
It's a little bit different,
let's
but
take a look.
We'll take a look.
I like
it's
their
out
brand.
of stock, which is funny.
Roll brand. All right, so where's the reviews? Here we go.
The bark came peeling off.
Oh.
So they didn't like that. It's almost too rustic, right?
So this is something that we need to know because we haven't placed the order yet for these. So this is the kind of thing that we're going to tell our factory, hey, we've heard that sometimes these things, some part of it might have glue come off. Make sure ours doesn't. Why did this person? Oh, the same thing. Both of these people had the bark.
Well, luckily we're not going to do the bark, but I like this. Check this out. I do, even though it's a 5-star, I do wish the egg openings were a bit larger for large eggs.
Oh.
So we need to make sure that our trays can handle large eggs. That's definitely something that's really good for us to know. Let's see, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. You know what's funny is I keep seeing these deviled eggs. Maybe when we actually go to optimize this, that's another keyword that we can add in. So, lots of reviews. Basically, what I'm seeing here, again, just the real quick snapshot is, let's shoot for high end. People love them. We need to have really good packaging.
Absolutely.
Right?
Just for kicks and giggles, let's look at what problems or things that people love. Let's go back to this one for a traditional egg tray. And on this one, I'm going to look for something that would kind of be for display. Where was that one that you saw that was kind of for display?
Well, that was the deviled egg tray. Let's do this one right here. This is probably pretty similar.
Okay. So 32 reviews, ceramic egg plate. So the other way, once you get, 32 is probably not enough.
And can we use
give it a try.
Review downloader here?
You and I are thinking exactly the same.
Perfect.
All right.
So this is a great Helium 10 tool that we didn't use it on the earlier ones because there was just not that many reviews. It didn't really, make much sense. But when you get into products where you want to really scan deeply into those high number of reviews, this is a great tool.
If this was more, like 32, I can pretty much read in a couple minutes here. But if this was like 1,000, that would be tons of information. I would probably want to kind of weed them out, filter them out. Like, hey, let me first look at all the 1 and 2-star reviews. I can do that right here. Or let me see all the 5-star reviews. But in this case, since there's only 32, I'm just going to extract them all. Should be, real quick. Here's some good information too. We want to know what are maybe the popular sizes, that we can do. It looks like this listing had 3 different variations. We see here there's a 12 egg holder, a 34, and a 6. One thing we wanted to talk about was like size, where in this case, size is going to be about like maybe how many eggs will fit into it. We got to decide about that. This listing right here, the Lei Yu what is up with these brand names here?
Laobi.
Laobier, all right? Help me, Laobier, you're my only hope. That's a Star Wars reference right there, sorry. All right, review count. Look which ones are dominating the reviews, the 12 and the 34, okay? So if we were considering like maybe we should only do like a 6-egg tray, look at this, look at their 6-egg tray. Only 5 reviews out of 40 reviews. So I know that that's probably not one of their best selling ones. But the other thing, if we hit this analysis button, it's going to tell me some of the most common phrases that's coming up here. And the number one here out of 32 reviews, in the fridge, all right? In the fridge is something that is coming up. And again, this is only 32 reviews. Theoretically, it's better to do this when it has like, 200, 1,000 reviews. But look, doesn't take up much space in the fridge. Space they take up in the fridge. I wanted something in the fridge. So that's something that we got to make sure, hey, ours is wooden. Let's talk to the factory. Are there any issues if we market this as being able to put in the fridge? I don't know if there's sanitary issues or something going on.
But I can tell you with wood that we need to make sure that it's a hard wood. We don't want like a soft wood that expands and contracts. Mm-hmm. So we don't want pine, we don't want cedar, which goes back to a lot of those other listings that we're showing like oak and walnut. So I think that we're probably on the right track with kind of what we'd already planned.
Okay, before we go on to the next product, one of the other things that we wanted to talk about was variations if we're going to do it. Me personally, you tell me if you agree with me or not, but me personally, especially for a lot of our users are brand new, I would recommend not doing a variation because that's just almost like if you're going to do 3 products. All right. So like, let's say, hey, I'm thinking, should I do a 6, 12, and an 18 egg variation? But your MOQ is going to be still like a 500 units for each one. And now it's like you're launching 3 products. So my personal opinion is when you're first starting off, maybe just try and pick a standalone product.
Yeah, and I think specifically on this egg tray, let's stick with one type of wood. We're not going to have variations. Let's stick with probably the 18 hole because that tested well. We're good with that. Pretty common size. And we know as far as like the color, those darker, richer colors seem to be extremely popular on every platform and every listing we looked at. So I think we're good. So as we're making decisions on the egg trays, we've kind of just poked around. And again, there's not like a glaringly obvious answer, but some of the questions that we have like size and color, I think we're going to go with the 18 holes. We're going to go with that dark wood. Design, structure, stuff like that. Of course, we're going to make sure it's a hardwood, like we said, because these are going in the fridge. We need to be thinking about the material, which is obviously wood. Variations we're not going to do. We know packaging. Packaging needs to be, pretty solid, right? Like we need to make sure that it's well protected because this is a heavy item. It's going to probably get bounced around the back of a UPS truck. All right, so now we know what, size we're going to have, what type of wood, what type of color. We know we're going to have some sort of robust packaging. Let's talk about brand. I see so many sellers get hung up thinking about step 30 when they're only on step 6. And step 30 would be, your social media presence, your great website. Right now, that doesn't matter because for all intents and purposes, this is our first product. We're selling a kitchen product. We're just selling on Amazon right now. All of that stuff in the future is very important, but right now it's not a huge deal. So I see people get really stressed out about brand name for Amazon. This brand name does not have to be what your business entity is. It doesn't have to be the name of your seller account. So if seller, my seller account name, was Tim's Kitchen Stuff. It doesn't have to be Tim's Kitchen Stuff brand.
This one is, the brand here is iDesign. They're calling it InterDesign, but let me look at the sellers. I guarantee it's probably not. Oh, there's 11 sellers. I don't even think there's we've got here. Yeah, here's all the sellers here. I don't even see iDesign isn't even one of them. I mean, these are sellers. XPW, Hartville Hardware, ships fast and free.
So don't get all bent out of shape about this. Here's what matters. We don't need it to look just completely ridiculous. We don't want one of these just crazy made up names. We want something that's a little creative, and this is also fun. Like this is where you can design, a little bit of your personality, your culture, have a little bit of fun in this brand name. Remember this, you're not stuck with this brand name forever. This is just something that looks legitimate on the Amazon listing. So if Bradley did, Anime's Kitchen Stuff, that doesn't really make sense. Like that's a little too creative because he's got Amazon or anime characters on his sleeve. But what we can do is we just, we don't want to get hung up making this too complicated. We want to have a little fun with this probably. We wanted to look somewhat realistic.
So actually on ours, we had already picked the brand. What was your thought process behind picking Gee's Chicken? Gee's Chicken Coop.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just something that was kind of creative and fun. We could throw a little Easter egg in so that as we're actually selling these products, people have no idea that they're buying a product named after, one of Helium 10's
Executives, yeah.
executives, which is kind of funny and kind of cool. So we'll name it Gee's Chicken Coop. Now, here's the thing. That name actually works because we found out that a lot of these are like home growers of eggs, right? So like that whole chicken coop theme, it's got a name to it. It's way better than this. But the point is, don't get hung up on this. You can have a little bit of fun. If later, you find more products and more products and more products that are all related to chickens or they're all related to kitchen, you can rename these things to something a little bit more direct. But right now, remember, we're going wide but not deep. Don't get hung up on little details. Have a little fun here. Just put something that makes sense.
Just because we're calling this Gee's Chicken Coop doesn't mean we have to call our axe. We don't have to brand our axe Gee's Chicken Coop, or we don't have to brand the coffin box Gee's Chicken Coop. We can pick different brands for those, which we're going to do in a few seconds here.
So every product is basically different. So going back to the egg trays, we've made some decisions on material, size, no variations. We know we have to have some really awesome packaging. We've got a brand name that we can have a little bit of fun with. We're basically ready to go out and source that. So now that we've got those things kind of checked off our list, let's go on to the coffin box, right? Next product.
Now that one, we actually had seen some. I don't remember if they had any sales. Let's take a look. What did we search for? Was it coffin bookshelf?
Coffin shelf, yeah.
Coffin shelf?
Yeah.
All right, coffin shelf. Let's see if we can find that one company. There it is. Ooh, I like this. I mean, I don't like it, but hey, there's 100% bad reviews looking for this.
So you remember the one brand that we were looking at was Sourpuss, and you guys remember that they were out of colors. This is going to be really important for us to look at variations. And they were out of the black. We had to go actually find that as
in black box, yeah.
Yeah. So let's go and do the reviews.
I want to look at this one.
Let's look at these bad
this
reviews.
Thing is, I don't even think we saw this product last time. Wouldn't recommend. No tracking information. So that was kind of annoying, as well as the item came damaged. Well, that's a plus for us. Here is the no tracking information. That means that it was fulfilled by merchant, okay, and they still bought it. Ours is going to be fulfilled by Amazon, so that already gives me some hope. Broke when I got. There's two. The item came damaged for the first person. The Whitley here says it was broke when I received it. The corner was not sticking together, so I had to Gorilla Glue it. And the third one came in broke.
Yep. So right off the bat, we know that we need to make sure that this thing is built well. And based on our samples, the thing was pretty solid, at least way nicer than what those look like. We know that, again, we need to have some good packaging. I know that if this is a painted item, if it's, has color, that we don't want that to get scratched up. So we might even do like bubble wrap and then a cardboard box.
Let me look at this one. I mean, I know ours is not purple, or who knows? Maybe we decide here that purple is the way to go. But this one has the most reviews out of here. Let's just take a look here. Good product, not great price, but you still bought it. Tersare. Only drawbacks is it's pretty small. So here we're talking about size. So it's more for looks than storage. Also, Sourpuss's prices are shady. Okay.
So that'll be fixed with us because our price will be a lot less than theirs, and it will be fulfilled by Amazon.
I found something I would not have thought about. Hanger attached. So I'm assuming that these bookshelves you're not going to put on the ground. We're talking about something that's probably around this size. So the fact that when they say hanger attached, I'm assuming they mean that little hook that's on the back of it. So that's something I totally would not have even thought about.
These people said it's actually bigger. So this is bigger than it looked in the pictures. Way too small. Displayed rock collection, cute but small but nifty. So it looks like size is all over the place. Some people think it's bigger, some people think it's smaller. I think that the size that we bought samples of is probably appropriate because that's what I'm already selling. We just need to keep in mind that we make sure that those dimensions are very clear because we don't want negative reviews based on somebody just not reading the listing details. So we'll make sure that that's all good. So
what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to try and see if I can find that one that's out of stock. And is that it right there? Sourpuss? Yep. There it is right there.
So remember, we just used black box. This is out of stock, currently unavailable. This one had 10 reviews, which tells me that black was probably sold more than the other colors. I dig it like a grave. That's pretty funny. I love it. Cool. There's a lot of 5-star reviews on this.
Somebody's using it for those Funko Pop little dolls or whatever you call them. Oh, this person is not actually hanging it. They're using it for a vanity. Interesting. Anything else jump out to you here?
Not yet, but it looks like everybody likes it. There's one that's hanging on the wall based on that picture there.
Okay.
Comes complete, made well. So one thing I thought about was, sometimes we can shrink this product in transit and reduce our cost if it like snaps together. But it looks like everybody, has kind of liked the fact that these are already built.
I'm curious about this. It says nowhere near accurate to dimensions listed. What are they even? I mean, usually that's actually against terms of service. If you're trying to say it's a different size, then it's advertising. So 14 by 8 by 3. They're saying it's not 14. That seems.
But that's about right. That's basically what we got our samples of. So what this tells me again is it looks like people's perception of size is different. So we would probably go ahead and make sure in our actual optimized listing that we make it very clear what the size is. That way we don't get
maybe put like a Lego or something there, or just so that people have an idea.
Yeah, we can put something, or just put infographics with the description.
Yeah, because if I just saw this, I mean, this to me almost looks like it could be something that is on the ground and the size of a kid or something. So that was a good point there.
So we know that based on the number of reviews, the black one is the more popular. We also know the black one is sold out.
Yeah.
So when we're making some decisions on this, we know, again, packaging's got to be good, right? We know that we need good packaging. We know that that was one of the biggest complaints as these things were destroyed. We need to be thinking about the wall hanger on the back of these things. Like we see that people are hanging on the walls. Even if our sample didn't have it, it can't cost much to put that little hanger on it. So we would do that in production because we want to keep this simple. And they stocked out of black, but they're stuck with the other colors. Again, let's not worry about variations. Let's keep it simple. Let's just go with the black version. Let me see. Material is just regular OSB. That's no problem. It's painted.
What's
it doesn't
OSB
really
mean?
matter. It's that particle board.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
OSB. So that's basically the samples that we got. Looks like basically all the decisions are made here. Looks very simple.
This is another one that there is not a frequently bought together because again, there's not enough history.
So again, we're making this decision kind of based on our gut, of all this information that's pulled together. This is not like some deeply data-driven process. Don't overcomplicate this. We know some of the problems people have. We know some of the things that people want to look at. Let's go to Etsy and see if it's listed there. This may be so kind of obscure it's not even on Etsy. Well, let's find out. Coffin shelf, and let's see if there's any reviews or anything there. So we need to find another small one. A lot of these look large. That one's
the
close.
hand
that's
looks
close.
like it could be only one
so
left.
It's a tabletop one.
The best creepy decor for my room I could have asked for. It's beautiful. I don't know about beautiful, but hey, to each their own. This person, a lot of people are just giving it stars. That's one good thing about Amazon. They force you to actually write something.
But again, this is telling us that people are generally happy with the product, which is great. Bone collection.
Okay, this is the
look at
perfect
that.
way to display my bone collection.
Cupcake stand for Vampirina.
Birthday party. There's a keyword right there.
Yeah.
When we come back and do the episode about keyword research, I've never even heard of the word Vampirina, but it obviously is a thing.
Again, not like some crazy data. It's just verifying that we're on the right track. Nothing is standing out to us as like a red flag or anything crazy. I think we're good to go. I think that all we now have to come up. Oh, are you going to make?
I'm just going to make something here. Notice how everybody was positive on this one, and then the other ones they were like saying negative things because hey, it looks too, or it's a lot smaller than I thought. But look what these guys did. These guys did exactly what we're talking about. It's like maybe we should have at least one or two images with something in it to kind of give perspective. And because of that, there was not one review here that said, "Oh man, it looks
So we'll make sure to remember that. But I don't think that it means there's a problem with the size. I think the size of the samples that we did are fine. We just have to make sure that we make it a little more clear. So this is good.
So I guess at this point we got to pick a brand name. And since you're on a roll with that Gee's Chicken Coop, do you have anything in mind? We did Gee. How about our CEO, Manny? Can you come up with one for?
I guess Manny deserves a shout out. So again, it's just an interesting name that is kind of fun for us here. Just proving an example. We've seen a lot of like kind of odd and curious themes around this. So
bone collection.
Yeah. So what if we name this? Let's call it just for fun for us for Project X. Manny's Curious Oddities.
How about Manny's Mysterious Oddities?
It's going to be something like that. It's
Something
going to
like
be
that.
good. So we're going to come up with a good Easter egg. And Manny's not here. He doesn't know we're doing this. So little does Manny know that he is going to have a coffin box product
Named after him.
named after him on basically the largest selling platform, at least in the English language. That's pretty cool.
How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think.
All right, so we've got two things. Let's go ahead and check on these axes. We know that if we're going to source these axes, we need to make some decisions. We've seen several different variations of these products. We've seen several different, like additional items. I remember when we were doing our original research.
What was our main keyword? Or one of the keywords?
What's it like? Forest axe?
Oh yeah,
forest axe.
Did I spell forest right? Yeah.
Yeah, those runs for Brooks. So, all right, this is great. We know that this isn't saturated because the listings are terrible and they're still ranking high. Our price is going to be much better than this, but this one does have 347 reviews. So this is probably a good candidate to use the review downloader tool.
Let's do it.
Let's try it out. And we're looking for any piece of information that can help us make a final production decision.
I'm going to go first just to see if there's any 1-star reviews. I mean, this thing has 5 stars. Here we go. Here's all the 1-star reviews together. What do we see
issues.
here?
It looks like the way it's manufactured. Blade broke. Oh, this is interesting. I received a knockoff product. So that's something we got to be careful about, is people maybe hijacking our listings.
We're going to talk about that, how you can protect yourselves against that in a future episode.
All right, so look at this. The axe arrived fine, but I never got a sheath. That's interesting because it's the little cover that goes on the blade.
Oh.
The listing didn't advertise it, but he's saying a camp axe without a sheath is pretty much worthless. So let's stock
Happy
call
Meal
that.
without fries is pretty much worthless as a axe without a sheath.
So now I will remember the word sheath forever.
Yep.
So it's saying it's not built for real work, not happy with this, does not hold an edge. So that's just kind of standard negative reviews, right? Nothing really shocking there. Nothing that really gives us any information either.
Let me go ahead and now look at everything. All right. Let's see if, whoops, did I do 4 stars? Nope, did them all. Analysis. All right. Ooh, number one. What is the number one thing, the number one phrase that comes up in the reviews for this product?
Razor sharp.
Razor sharp. And it's got a 4.9.
4.9. So
that means it's positive. So they want it to be, let's hit this and just see some of the things. Be careful, these things are razor sharp.
The Rolls Royce of axes.
I like that. We'll be the Bentley of axes. All my tools came up razor sharp. It is razor sharp. Arrived razor sharp. So right away, this is going to be something that we're going to talk a little bit about later. When we're making the copy of our listing, this is something that can help make that emotional connection. But at the same time, we want to make sure the fact that everybody who wrote the word razor sharp had pretty much a 5-star review means that that is something that's important to the typical avatar or typical customer for this. So when we talk to the factory, we're going to want to make sure, say, hey guys, don't make this dull. Make sure it's razor sharp. What else do we have here? Out of the box, small forest axe, very sharp. Another person says super sharp, worth the money. All right, that's the main thing that I saw here. What about this? The axe head. What are people saying? There was a crack on the bottom portion of the axe head. It delivers more power to the axe head. It was missing the metal wedge that holds the axe head to the handle. Another thing, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. So right now, the big keywords I'm looking at are people want this thing sharp and they want it built well.
Yeah.
Right. So it looks like a lot of quality control issues where people were really expecting, a great quality piece, and maybe we're a little bit less than overwhelmed by it. And sharp, which to me is important, because if we're going to ship something sharp, if we're going to sell something sharp, we need to make sure that nobody gets hurt. We're going to make sure it doesn't destroy the packaging. So that leads me to go back to this whole idea of,
is that a sheath?
That is a sheath.
That is what a sheath is?
Wow,
okay.
I had no idea that was on there. So
that's a bad they saved that for like the 7th image or 5th image right there.
All right, so because it is sharp and people wanted a sheath, even though the other guy had a bad review, let's do this. Let's do forest axe sheath.
Ooh.
All right, so now we know, you know what
Wow.
basically what. Whoa, $42 just for that sheet.
And that's
$42.
fulfilled by merchant.
Yeah, this is insane. So
We're going
um,
down another rabbit trail, guys.
all
Bear
right.
with us. Bear with
So
us.
let's jump off of Amazon. Remember, we found that item in Studio
Bespoke.
Keyboard
Steal it away.
Bespoke Post, and remember how impressed we were with Bespoke Post and like the quality of their listings. So presumably they would have a really nice. Look at there, cut me off.
Another one.
Look, so even Bespoke, they have that leather sheath. It's a little different design, but I think that's important. Let's do this. Let's jump over to Pinterest and let's type Forest Axe.
Look at
I
that
see a
shit.
pretty common theme, and that theme is that, you know, there's a lot of different variations, but it looks like everybody wants a leather sheath,
Yeah.
which is crazy interesting to me because remember on our listing, hardly any of these are even shown with a sheath. Here's, you know, a couple
There's
on
one,
here. You
yeah.
have the pin, yeah. So one or two, and that's basically it. You know, like every 10th one. So here's what I think. I think that, you know, we're looking at several different things. One, axe. It's got to be metal, so material. We know that we need to have a hard wood because people expect that thing to last. When we look at packaging, I'm actually not sure about how we package these, but I bet our supplier could help us
Yeah.
because you know, when we find a supplier that makes these, they can recommend packaging. So we'll kind of work through that in the sourcing episode. I think it's safe to say that we need to try to source a leather sheath for these items because that differentiator is going to be really, really important. Variations, I would see that. I know you're pulling that up, which is great.
What I'm actually looking at is something that I'm not sure. I'm just, you know, I have no idea what I'm about to find right here. But I'm sorting this by the best sellers on this page, and I'm going to scroll over here to the dimensions and just see if there's any kind of trend here.
Oh, that's great. It looks like a lot of small oversize.
Yeah, so
it looks like
14. Like here's a 28. You see, obviously these are two different sizes right here.
Well,
so
that's weird because that's large standard size,
Mhm.
which that one's, oh, it's because overall they've got it messed up. So if we're looking at the most common, which is small oversize, we're looking at 27, 26, 30, 25, 37, 28. So we look like we're anywhere from the majority of them between 26 to 30,
Mhm.
right? Overall length. So, oh, need to click that, click that. So if we look at these top sellers, we're looking at, you know,
See a
25
25.
inch, 26 inch, 27 inch, 19 inch. So in this scenario, I'm not an axe expert, but here's what I think.
I would like to ask you a question about this, please.
Would you like to axe what size we should make these?
Please.
Okay. Well, let's axe our supplier. And what I mean by that is the suppliers that we're going to look for to make these things have a really good idea of probably what's popular. All I know is as long as we stick within the, you know, 25 to 28
Yeah.
inch length, that's probably going to be our most popular based on what we're seeing here, right?
I agree.
So this one should be pretty easy too. We know that packaging, we'll figure out later, it's probably not as important because this is a pretty durable item that's not necessarily, you know, prone to like, you know, breaking in transit, but we want it to be safe. We know that because of the keywords razor sharp. We know that we want to look at having a leather sheath on it, one, because it's popular based on Pinterest, but also people are expecting it. Like in the reviews, people saying there's no sheath, and it covers our tails with liability because if we ship this thing without having some sort of cover on the blade, it could be really, really bad.
Axe sheath has 1,000 people searching for it.
Just for the sheath.
And look at some of these top sellers here. These are guys selling. I mean, look at I love the price point. You know, for some of these are like $40, but you know, some of these are a little bit cheaper, $20. You know, still not. There's only one like $6 one here. These sales are decent.
So this is interesting because we may
Yeah.
have found like a complementary product. So in this phase, we probably wouldn't set up a variation of just the sheath, but it shows us again that there's demand for this additional product and nobody on page one is really showing it off. Yeah, so this is a great point that people value these sheaths based on the price. I mean, a lot of these have enough reviews that we know they're selling, the price is high, so added perceived value to our listing. So when we're thinking about basically the RFQ or the request for quote that we're going to send to our suppliers, we're thinking it needs to be sharp, but it needs to be covered. We'll figure out the packaging later. We're going to go to that 25, 28-inch length. Is there anything else that we found here that's interesting? I think that the revelation of needing to put a leather sheath on it was really important. But can you think of anything else that we need to include in that RFQ?
Just again, the craftsmanship. So, we'll talk on the sourcing section about how we do quality control, but that's definitely something that we're going to want to check out to make sure it doesn't have some of those issues that people are talking about. Hey, the head wasn't attached great, or it was flimsy, or whatever they had said. So that's definitely something we're going to have to make sure that we check up on.
All right. So again, the last thing that we need to be considering, because the packaging, and the brand name matters. And that's why we're actually thinking about brand name now, is when we put an RFQ or request for quote out for this and it has the packaging, we want to go ahead and put a brand name on this somewhere. And the reason for that is that people can't hijack our listings, right? For them to actually hijack our listings would be a nightmare if, we have our own custom design and logo. I'm not talking about trademarks right now. I'm just talking about putting something unique where they couldn't hijack our listings and try to sell it. So we need to come up with a fun brand name for an axe.
All right, we did one for Manny and Guy. You still want to name, do it after somebody here at the office?
I'm up for suggestions.
Let's see. Forest Axe.
Let's have something that just sounds fancy and not fancy, but sounds smooth. Helium 10 headquarters is in
Irvine,
California. Let's just make it Irvine Axes.
Irvine Axes. Sounds good.
Irvine Axes it is. It's literally that easy. We just made this up on the spot. It's that easy. Don't get bent out of shape about this. So,
Tim, that was a great episode. We went over a few things. What are some of these things that we went over?
So we talked about how to use your competitors to get information on maybe how we would source. Mm-hmm. We looked at reviews on Amazon. We looked at reviews off of Amazon. We looked at differentiators and keywords. If we had to make any design changes to make ours different, kind of like we know we need to put one of those little hangers on the back of our coffin box. We know we need to put a sheath on the axe, right? We talked about packaging, how important that is, quality of packaging, because we don't want, one review, wrecking our entire listing at the very, launch because we had a great product and we skimped on the box a little bit. We know that we need to, protect ourselves, like sharp items of the axe. We need to make sure that we're covering our own liability. We covered a lot. What else did we cover?
We didn't do it today, but we talked about what we could do with a kind of research if we wanted to start bundling products as well.
Yep. Talked about bundling. And we talked about brands. And listen, the only reason we're talking about branding right now is because it has a lot to do with sourcing. Because when we source these products, we'll want our brand name somewhere. We'll want it on the packaging. Sometimes you can print it right on the product. And that will actually protect us from hijackers. So that's the only reason we're talking about something that probably is a little more advanced, in future episodes. We're talking about it now because we've got these 3 items and we have a list of the things that we want. And now, again, I'll go back to that same acronym, RFQ. We can build out an RFQ.
Hold on. I just realized, guys, we're not rehearsing this stuff, and we always come up with stuff like in the middle of while we're filming this that we forgot. And I just realized something we forgot. Do you know what we forgot to do? And we could do that really quick, even though we're at the end of this episode, like in 3 minutes. One of the most important things.
If I hadn't forgot it, I'd know it.
Pricing.
Oh, pricing.
We got to talk a little bit. Let's just go through real quick on each of these. What kind of price points we're going to do, and this will just take really quick. I'm glad that we were doing that review because now I realize that we didn't do that. So we're here on the
and here's the reason pricing is important is we can reverse engineer our pricing, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in the sourcing episode. But we're going to reverse engineer basically how we're going to price these items to know what we have to budget to buy these things. So like the axes, we've looked at these a lot before. A lot of these name brands are, $100, $200, but some of the unbranded items, we're looking at $30, we're looking at $29, we're looking at $35, kind of that price range, $39. So I would think that we would need to stay in the $30 to $40 price range. We might be able to get a little bit higher with those leather sheaths, adding that perceived and actual value to the listing. So those numbers are going to be important. So we're going to be targeting, and that's all we're doing right now is getting a target. We're targeting, the $30 to $45 sales price, and that will be important when we get the quotes. The coffin shelf. I remember the coffin shelf. Those things were selling really expensive, especially when you included the shipping. I mean, we're looking at $26 plus another $7 or $8, $36 plus $11. So I think that, we want to have higher volume of these. I think these prices are too high for.
There were
for
some
what
people
they're
who were
getting.
complaining about that as well.
So even if we drop the price down to $25,
Free
yeah,
shipping.
yeah, with free shipping, so $25, we know that these things, at least based on the samples, should only cost, $3 or $4 or $5 landed. So if we stuck within the, $19.99 price range, we're good. So target price range based on being able to be less expensive than them and still profitable. Let's shoot for about $20 and hope that our sourcing quotes come in with, high margins, high ROIs based on that. So
And we'll show you once those
$20.
sourcing quotes come in, how to calculate, just get a rough estimate on how profitable. But again, we're not trying to lock that down right now. We just want to kind of talk about our methodology and our logic in getting a target price.
Sure.
Third one was a wooden egg tray.
And this is interesting because we're actually going to look at two things. The wooden egg trays on this listing, we're looking anywhere from, remember we got to look at the big ones. So anywhere.
I'd almost want to look on Etsy instead of here. What do you think?
Well, remember Etsy was really expensive, $35, $38, right?
Egg tray. I see $32.
Apples to apples
33.
comparison, and those are the 12-hole ones. Yeah,
38.
Yeah, so we're looking at $38 for the 18-hole one. Like
There's a
we're gonna
25,
go
but that's only a what?
$25. These are expensive.
That's only a 12-hole.
And then if we go back to Amazon
Mhm.
and just type egg tray,
Okay.
remember these prices are lower. So it's easy to look at this and say, oh gosh, we have to be inexpensive. We can't compete. But remember, because ours is a different variation and we have social proof based on, Etsy and the other wooden egg tray listings that they're more expensive. I think also this one we should be shooting, if we do a really nice job, $29.
Yeah.
But I think if we wanted to sell volume, we might stick with 20, $19.99, $19.97. So let's just assume that we had to be more competitive to get on this page at $20, so $19.97. Let's put that kind of in our back pocket as far as a target price. That way we know what our costs need to be when we actually start getting these quotes back from suppliers. So
now I think we got everything covered now that we wanted to in this episode.
Good catch. So from here, we've got this information to put together in our RFQs, and that's what we're going to talk about in the next episode. In the next episode, we're going to actually build RFQs, request for quotes. We're going to talk about some of the more popular and some of kind of our preferred methods for sourcing. I actually used to own a sourcing company in China, so I've seen all of the methods and have a little bit of expertise in this. RFQs, where and how to source. We're going to talk about negotiating with suppliers. We're going to talk about looking at pro forma invoices. That may be a new term to you, pro forma invoices, and how to kind of dial those back. We're even going to talk a little bit about like the business structure of the way that specifically China. Now there's a lot of places you can source, and I'll actually hit some of those in the next episode too. But for all intents and purposes, let's say China, because it's the most common right now, and a lot of these principles apply elsewhere. But let's talk about some cultural things. Let's talk about, maybe how to engage or what to expect. We'll talk about things like the yes culture and the culture of saying yes. And that's all going to be super, super, super valuable information for you. This is one of the places where a lot of people get hung up on this private label journey, and we do not want you to get hung up. We're going through this to show you a simple approach to take to find products. We want to extend this and we want to extend this to show you simple ways to source these products and not get hung up along the line, because ultimately what we're doing with Project X is taking you from not even having a product idea to launching this product. So we need to make this as smooth as possible. And I see a lot of people, like I said, getting hung up on sourcing. So our objective is to smooth out that hump and let you glide over it a lot more easily and eventually build out a really, really nice product line for yourself.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll see you guys in a little bit on episode 7.